Hey readers, welcome back to Bookmark This, where lit happens. My name is Jess, and the lit that is happening today is my very delayed reading wrap up for February. Right at the start of February, I started the month with a little bit of Melinda Leigh and several novellas because I realized pretty quickly that I didn't have hardly any romance picked out, and it was February, so I was like, I need some romance, but I didn't really dig for romance. I just found some novellas that were on Audible. I thought it would be a perfect way to up my number and, sort of just listen while I worked on these other projects I've been working on. So the first book that I read in February was by Melinda Leigh. It's called Drown Her Sorrows, and it is in the Bree Taggart series. If you read those sort of books, then I loved it. I had a good time with it. Obviously, if you read a lot of these books kind of consecutively, they do tend to get just a little bit repetitive because she does a really good job of recapping along the way, just in case, I guess, if you're somebody who picked up the book out of order. But because I'm a dedicated reader of her, it can get a little redundant because I'm like, I'm dedicated. You don't have to keep repeating that. I know that. And so it can get redundant. But if you could set that aside, the book itself, the content within the book is so good. I rated it at 4 stars. And then the next book I read was a novella. It was called Second Act Romance. And I gave this one 3 stars. It was just okay. I don't know. It was which most of these are a little bit cheesy, and that's fine, but it was just okay for me. It's definitely not anything I'm going to remember in the future. The next novella I read was Accidentally Yours, and this one was much better. I rated this one 4 stars. It was cute. I thought it was a unique premise. I had fun with this one. It was definitely close proximity, and that's one of my favorite tropes when it's done right. So I had a good time with this one. This author was really able to drag me in pretty quickly, which I think is a very important skill for a novella because you only have a certain amount of pages. You know what I mean? So you have to figure out how to just whoop somebody in quick. It's not something I think I could do, but I think she did a fabulous job. Next up, on February 5th, I finished It's Not Her by Mary Kabuka. This one was good. I don't think it was a bad book at all. It definitely hooked me in, and I was interested and intrigued to figure out this mystery alongside the characters, and I had a good time with it. I will say it was pretty predictable for me, which is why I opted to give this one 3 stars. Next, a novella. All of these novellas are part of the same sort of a series. They are independent works, but they kind of combine them into sort of, I guess, a series of some sort. It's called A Play for Love. This one also was just okay for me. I don't know what it is about these ones with these plays. The Second Act Romance was also a play. I don't know what it is about, the setup of those books. I could see maybe it working. It just wasn't for me. I didn't like it as much. I can't say the book was bad. It's not like a 2-star book, but it just wasn't. I'm not going to remember it. It was just okay. Anyways, the next one in the series, though, I gave another 4 stars. Its title is Death to Valentine's Day. And in this one, it's sort of a setup that we've heard time and time again about being in a remote location. A crime occurs, and you may or may not be stuck in the same vicinity of the crime. But I thought the author did really well, sort of mixing in some thriller mystery aspects to this novella and doing it in a way that had it laid out and wrapped up inside of just a few pages. That is a skill, and I thought it was really good. So 4 stars. The next book was another one by Melinda Leigh in that Bree Taggart series, and it's called Right Behind Her. And that one didn't do it for me as good as the majority of her books did. I just rated that one a 3 star. And then next up was this next book that I read in February, kind of swooped in and saved my entire month, and that is Atmosphere by Jenkins Reid. I have read another one of her books and I really didn't love it as much, so I am so happy I gave her another shot. This book was so good. It's very character driven. If you go in hoping only for astronaut space content, you're not going to get as much of that in this book, and I can see you maybe not liking it for that reason, but this was very character driven, and it really deals with each character and how life is lifing for them. And it does have some sprinkles of space and astronaut, as that is their career. So it does have some of that in here, but it's mostly about the characters and what they're dealing with. And I enjoyed it so much. It just missed the mark for 5 star for me because of the ending. I felt like it wrapped up just a bit too quickly, and it just didn't hit home as much as I wanted it to. But this author told me what was going to happen in this book before it happened, and she still allowed me to connect with these characters in a way that it made me extremely sad. So I love this. This is probably my favorite book of the month. This was this was it, 4 stars. I read a third Melinda Leigh. It was called Dead Against Her, and this one was another 3-star for me. Again, this might be my fault, pushing too many in one month. It was just okay. Next up, I read It's One of Us by J.T. Ellison. This was my first J.T. Ellison. Don't ask me why, because I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of very unique situations going on and unique obstacles in this book, but then there was also a lot of aspects of the book that many people can relate to, and I thought it was a very nice mix of those two things. I also felt like for the most part there was some good mystery behind this. I will say that overall, because of so many of the hints that were dropped along the way, I pretty much figured out the main plot line early on, but there were still so many things about this book that had me on my toes and on the edge of my seat, and at the end I was quite disappointed with how we ended things, and that is, I mean, you know, it's okay. Not all books end the way that I want them to, and that's okay. Also, just endings are hard. I feel like endings are hard, and maybe that's because I'm hard to please. I don't know. But the ending was not my favorite. Our main character doesn't seem to really learn from her secrets, and she continues to harbor so much to herself. I do think it's out of a sense of trying to protect herself, but some of the secrets that she tends to hide are like not appropriate because they're not just her secrets. Like she's holding stuff back from people who have a right to know them. So that was my beef with this, but I gave it 3 stars, and I cannot wait to figure out which J.T. Ellison I'm going to pick up again. This was good. Freida McFadden, I read Dear Debbie, and it was so good. I actually read this. I have a physical copy somewhere, and I read this in a physical copy, but I don't know where I placed it. So anyways, this book was so good, and I know a lot of people are like, it's okay, but I was so tricked, which I am starting to be more and more tricked by Freida, which is the opposite of what I assumed would happen. Typically, once you figure out how Arthur does things, you know, you figure them out quick. I had the opposite experience where the first books I've read of hers, I sort of figured them out quickly, but the last few that I've read, I've been kind of stunned and tricked up. I thought this was so good. Trust no one going into this book. This is so good. I hope you guys pick this one up this month or next month, because it is a 5-star read for me. B.A. Paris had a new release in February, which I could not wait to get my hands on, and I read it in one sitting, and I have seen some people say they just did not like it, and that is okay. I, however, loved it. I was on my toes the entire time. There was a section sort of in the middle there where I was like, dude, like, come on, let's do something. Like, we're on repeat here with the same daily events. But I mean, that's how most of our lives are. And so once we got over that little hump, there was so much going on, guys. There was so much going on. And I did not see the ending coming at all. I thought I had it figured out. I thought I definitely knew who our culprit was. And I was actually pretty shocked. And the people that she started to trust, I was like, no, don't trust them. And turns out it was fine for her to trust some of the ones that I thought was not okay. But then the one that I was okay with was just wrong. And I missed a pretty big clue, actually. When they started to do the reveal and the unraveling, I was like, how did I not pick up on that? But anyways, it was really good in my opinion. I rated this one 4 stars. B.A. Paris, I'm so happy you wrote another book. Please write more. I am a big fan. Like, this next book, my opinions sometimes seem to differ so much from what I see on the internet, and I think that is fine. Sometimes it aligns exactly, which is just confusing, I think, because I'm like, how do we agree so much on this book but then not this book? But that's okay. That we all have our taste, right? But the next book was so overly hyped and so many people loved it, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. I wanted to love it, and I liked the setup and the idea and like where I thought we were heading with the wedding people. Our main character is dealing with some severe mental trauma, and she is planning to herself, and I'm understanding of that and sympathetic of that. And I thought that I understood a little bit about where this was going. I also thought that once she got to where she was going, some things that started to happen right at the beginning was distracting for her and sort of exciting. I liked the idea of how we impact each other, was taking place. But then our main character became somebody I could barely stand, which is also fine. I have many books actually that some of the main characters are trash, and it becomes my favorite book. But no, I didn't like how we went from being someone considering unaliving to sort of being disrespectful to other people who make that decision. Like, oh yeah, everybody was right, I'm not one of those people. And sort of insinuating she's better somehow, although the acts that she does in this book clearly makes her better than no one. And I don't know, this one just wasn't for me. I did give it 3 stars because it wasn't altogether terrible, but it just I just don't really get it. It definitely wasn't a 4 or a 5 star. I don't know how people see that, but again, everybody has their own opinion. So, okay, count my lies. Count my lies. This book. Okay, this book took me on a journey for real. Okay, the first 140 to 150 pages almost unalived me. Okay, I almost didn't make it. No, I almost didn't make this. I started reading this book forever ago, and it felt like it was painfully dragging along and dragging along and dragging along. And I honestly didn't think that I was going to be able to suffer anymore. I almost DNF'd this book twice. Yeah, no, I literally legit almost couldn't make it through this book. And then magically I turned the page and everything, we switched perspectives and everything shifted for me. I was very intrigued. It was like I was on two opposite ends of a very broad spectrum of love-hate with this book. In the beginning, I could have burned this book. And by the end, I was in love. Like, I don't even know how, I mean, that's drastic. The main character, again, was another character that I could just not stand. I was like, meet me on the street. That's where I was with this main character. I just could not with her, but the entire time, nothing was as it seemed. And I enjoyed this so much, the latter half of it. I will say it's okay to make a book sort of not the greatest turn out to be great, but she almost lost me completely. Like, I almost DNF'd this book, but I just didn't want to DNF this year. So I was like, just stick with it. It was so bad that I had to download the audiobook to even finish it. And I was like, I'm just going to listen to the rest of this. I just can't anymore. I'm not going to make it. But then the minute I turned on the audiobook, it was like the next perspective already. And I was like, if I would have just flipped the page and like, I would have been fine. But because I guess I just didn't know that, and I was about to not give it a chance any further. I mean, halfway, it seems like enough time, right? So I was like, I'm just going to not. But then I'm happy that I did what I did because this turned out to be one of the best. I still don't think I can rate it more than about a 3, just because as good as it was at the end, it just took far too long to get there. And I understand there has to be some sort of a build up, but I just spent way too much time in the beginning wanting to not go another chapter. So because of that, I still look at this book with a little disdain. So I'm like, love hate right here, love hate. But this turned out to be really good. If you can make it through the first half of the book, or maybe just download the audiobook from the beginning, I think you can get there quicker in that way. And you will love the ending of this. You will love the ending of this. So take that for what it is. I hope you guys enjoy this kind of content, and I hope you guys will let me know if you've read any of these. What opinions do you have that are the same or different than mine? And let me know what you're reading for March, because your girl is behind. Be sure you bookmark this channel so you never miss when it happens, and I will see you in the next video.